All right, 7th grade final project beginning. It is really large. We're definitely working landscape, not portrait. So the first thing we do, we come in, we pick a spot roughly in the middle. That will be our vanishing point. Take our ruler. I'm actually just going to line mine up and with the vanishing point in the middle of it. I actually think I'm going to make my road a little bit wider than I was planning, since I have so much room to work with. I'm going to line up, make a straight line, come over here about the same distance, make a straight line. It's definitely not the same distance. So that this is my road in the middle, which you should be familiar with because we've been working with it on our sketches. Now, you can decide, oh, I'm going to have roads going off, and that's something you should decide now. So what you can do I don't have really longer rulers. I do have some straight edges though that you can work with. They will get kind of in the way, so you need a lot of room. Nothing else should be on your table. I'm going to try to do this so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put a few different side roads on here. I'm going to come in, line up with the edge of my paper. I'll start one there. Then, because I can't see through it, I need to either determine how wide I'm going to want it now or turn my paper. So now I have that. I'm going up to the point that I'm indicating. I'm actually going to move my paper down a little bit so I can move this. It's not straight yet. There we go. So there is the beginning stages of a side road. I'm going to erase this part so it's not in the way. If I need to, I can always come back in with my ruler that I can see through. And kind of reevaluate some of it. Mind you, I couldn't really see what I was doing, so I can always turn it to rework a line. And then erase what you don't need. I actually have to redraw again because I just erased some of it because I was rushing a little. Okay. So I'm going to choose that to be one of them. And then I'm going to come in. I want to put another one here. I actually want to make this one a little bit smaller since it's supposed to be far away. See, sometimes we change our minds. That's okay. When we do it, I'm actually going to switch back over to this since I'm only really working on one side at a time. I don't need to go all the way across. I'm going to go a little ways down. I made it about that width. So I'm going to come down a little ways. Again, do this off and on just to kind of give my picture some interest. Some of these lines might disappear later, and that is okay. Then I'm going to put one more right here. But I'm going to come over here and do it. Okay. So I have some side roads. That makes me happy. Trying to get this so you can see it better. So now I would start building my other roads. Or not my other roads, my buildings. So I'm going to start with a building right here. I'm going to turn my paper to work with it. So I'm actually going to start off with a building right here. I'm actually going to go back and make that a little wider. Some of our roads will end up getting hidden by tops of buildings, and that's okay. So I want to create a top for this building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, line up with the bottom of my paper, and draw a line across, and then erase the parts I don't need. I'm drawing lightly so I can erase easily. Now I line up with the edge of the paper, draw a straight line. Okay, that gives me my first building. Now I'm going to have other buildings. I'm going to come in, I'm going to leave a little space between buildings, and I'm going to start drawing up. And I'm going to come here, and I'm actually going to really draw this one out. So you see my finger was in the way. So this means I'm most likely not going to see a lot of this building. But I'm going to come in. Now I'm going to decide right now what I want this building to do. So because I'm working with such a long piece of paper, I'm going to line up on this side over here and draw up to there because that's the bottom of my building. Now, I'm going to take this building, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. I want it to come behind this building. So I'm having to work with this, trying to figure out how this works. So I want this building to stop around here. So I'm going to do that, which then means all of this can go away. Then I'm going to take where these lines meet up, draw out. So technically I erased a little too much on this one. And then erase the part I wouldn't see. Then I'm going to make this a really wide top, so I'm going to go behind the building a bit and go out. And then I'm going to get where these two lines meet, line up with the edge of the paper. Then erase what I don't need. So there's the beginning of my little city that I have going on. Now, if I wanted to, I could make this bigger. It's however. And then I'm going to now come in. I'm trying to do this without losing my mind. Gonna come in, leave a little bit of room, draw it about there. Let's see if I like it. There we go. Oops, too tall. So I'm actually gonna erase that little boot in there. There we go. And then draw out the rest of my building. where these two lines meet, line up with the edge, draw to it. A lot of you, what you're doing is you draw your lines out and then you try to meet to the lines, but that doesn't work because any and all diagonal or converging lines go back to the vanishing point. So you got to make sure that you're lining up with the edge where 2 points meet, and then lining up at the edge of the paper and drawing over and then erasing what you don't need. So we are going to pretend like that one. We're going to pretend that it comes to about here, that it's a little bit covered up. And then come here, line up. Obviously, you can come back in, line up with your line, and finish drawing that out. And then you would erase the part of the building that you wouldn't, or part of the street that you wouldn't see. Now, we don't have problems with these parts of these buildings having to draw this line back here because we covered up that part of that. And that's all right. That is A-okay. What you don't want to lose is your lines from your roads. You can make sure that when you erase, if you erase any of it, that you go back through and you re-add the little parts so you don't lose them. So after that, I'm going to actually skip over to here. No, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to come here and we're going to add another building here. My bad. I messed up. No. Can I do that there? Line up the edge. I'm going to let it go off the paper. I bring it back a little. Line it up. Go off the paper. So now what I have to do is I have to pretend that is way off the paper. That's okay. I'm still going to come back here, line it up, do that, and then come here, line this up with the edge of the paper, do that, erase a little bit of that so you can see it, and then come in, erase the parts of the road that you wouldn't see through this building. Now, technically, I have some room over here. I'm gonna see what, maybe, do I want to do something there? Do I want to do this? I'm gonna do that. Okay. And then I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna decide that I want this to end here. Which means this is going to erase, and then I'm going to take this little bit, line up with the edge of the paper, and draw it going off. Erase what I don't need. And don't forget this, because it looks weird without it. Alright, so there is a city square. Mind you, I know I have room in these back areas. I'm just kind of ignoring it now. I'm going to fill that in later. How I would deal with this little corner over here, because this is another street. I'd come in at the corner. And that would pretty much be all I would do for that area. Now, obviously, I did not account for streets, for sidewalks, and because it would be so tiny, you just want to leave it very little. And actually, that's a little bit too much, but I will get back to you in the next part.